The sky hung heavy with grey clouds, as if the heavens themselves were mourning. Obinna Okafor, a millionaire industrialist with salt in his beard and weight in his eyes, stood stiffly at the foot of a freshly dug grave. His tailored suit clung awkwardly to his stiff frame. His jaw clenched as he tried to swallow the lump in his throat. In his hand, he clutched a small, worn-out necklace, the last gift he ever gave her. Every month, for the past year since he learned of her death, he came to this lonely village cemetery in Omuoma. He came not as a powerful man, but as a broken soul, seeking forgiveness from a woman he had once vowed to marry, a woman he betrayed. Each visit tore him apart. He would sit for hours by the simple headstone, Ifeoma Williams. Beloved mother. Fierce spirit. The headstone was modest, yet to Obinna, it shone brighter than all the wealth he had amassed. Sometimes he would speak aloud, telling her about his regrets, about the life they should have had together. Sometimes he would sit in silence, crushed under the weight of his guilt. The world knew him as a titan of industry. Here, he was just a man swallowed by sorrow. Today, he came again, expecting only the cold company of her grave. But today was different. Across the grave stood a young man, dark-skinned, tall, with determined eyes that held an uncanny familiarity. The boy stepped forward, holding a single white rose. She was all I had, he said, voice tight, trembling. My name is Chibuike, and Ifeoma Williams was my mother. Obinna blinked. His breath caught. Ifeoma? The name hit him like a bullet. His hand, still gripping the necklace, fell limply to his side. Yes, Chibuike whispered, staring him straight in the eyes. And you're my father. Obinna staggered back a step, as if the earth itself had tilted under him. No, it can't be. He whispered, voice raw. But looking at the boy, the set of his jaw, the stubborn fire in his eyes, Obinna knew. There was no denying blood. Years ago, Obinna had been a bright young student, full of dreams and reckless hope. He first met Ifeoma under the old mango tree behind the university chapel. She was a tailor's daughter, laughing with a group of friends as she carried a basket of freshly sewn clothes. Their eyes met. Something shifted. Obinna offered to carry her basket. She refused with a teasing smile. He followed her anyway, cracking jokes so terrible she couldn't help but laugh. From that day, they became inseparable. She taught him humility, he taught her ambition. She sewed clothes for his school presentations. He wrote her poems hidden in the linings of her dresses. They made promises, whispered at midnight, of a shared future, a simple life built on love, not legacy. They would marry after graduation. They would build a home filled with laughter and stubborn dreams. But dreams die quickly under the crushing weight of expectation. Chief Okafor, Obinna's father, was a man of power and pride. When he learned of their love, he descended upon Omuoma like a raging storm. He stormed into Ifeoma's home, tore her with cruel words, a common tailor's daughter, a gold digger, and humiliated her family. Choose her, he told Obinna coldly, and you will be nothing. No name. No future. No family. Obinna fought, at first. But fear wormed its way into his heart. He was young. Dependent. Not yet the man he wanted to be. And so, he chose the coward's road. He disappeared. Without a goodbye. Without an explanation. Ifeoma waited. She wrote letters, long, teary letters sealed with hope. But each came back, stamped return to sender. She went to his university. They said he had transferred. She sat beneath the mango tree, day after day, until the neighbors shook their heads in pity. And then, came the nausea. The missed periods. The slow horror of realizing she was carrying the child of the man who abandoned her. The night Chibuike was born, the rain pounded the tin roof of her aunt's hut like a drum of sorrow. Ifeoma screamed over a battered wooden table, her face twisted in agony, sweat soaking her wrapper. Obinna, she cried out, her voice a shattered wail into the storm. Push, Ifeoma. Push, cried Mama Nkechi, her aunt, her hands trembling with fear. The world blurred into pain, noise, and betrayal. And then, a baby's cry. Fierce. Alive. Mama Nkechi gasped through her tears. It's a boy. When they laid him on her chest, Ifeoma sobbed, holding him close. I will name you Chibuike, God is my strength, she whispered. Because in the wreckage of her dreams, he was her only light. Ifeoma raised Chibuike with a will of iron. She taught him to read under candlelight. She fought off the sneers of the village, the gossip, the shame. She sewed dresses until her knuckles cracked, braided hair until her fingers bled. All to give her son a chance at dignity. But cancer came without mercy. First the coughing. Then the bleeding. Then the slow, painful collapse of the woman who had fought too long, too hard. One evening, with death drawing near, she gave Chibuike a faded photograph, a smiling young man he somehow resembled. This is your father, she said, her voice thin as mist. And with tears running down her gaunt cheeks, she begged him. Find him. Even if only once. Let him see what we made from nothing. And that night, Ifeoma closed her eyes and drifted away. The storm in her heart finally stilled. Obinna fell to his knees by the grave, clutching the mud, his fingers trembling. Tears blurred his vision. I didn't know, he gasped. I swear to you, I didn't know she was pregnant. Chibuike stood tall, but his hands clenched into fists at his sides. She suffered alone, he said, voice shaking. She died still loving you. Raising me with fire, while you lived in comfort. Obinna wept openly now, his shoulders heaving with years of buried guilt. I loved her, he choked out. But I was weak. I let my father take everything from me. And I lost her because of it. He reached into his coat and pulled out a battered, yellowed envelope, one of Ifeoma's letters, unopened for decades. My father hid her letters. He kept me away from her. Obinna's voice broke into 1,000 pieces. I come here every month, he whispered. Since I found out. I sit with her grave because it's the only way I can still be near her. He turned tortured eyes to Chibuike. I never thought I deserved forgiveness. Chibuike's jaw was tight. His heart ached, but his anger was not easily undone. She deserved more, he said bitterly. Obinna nodded, tears falling freely. I know. But if you'll let me try to make it right. Not for me. For her. There was a long, heavy silence. Only the wind moved, whispering through the trees. Aftermath. It took months. Chibuike didn't trust easily. He made Obinna work for every conversation, every meeting. Pain ran too deep for easy healing. But slowly, painfully, they built a bridge over the years of betrayal. Obinna disowned his father publicly. He renamed his scholarship fund the Ifeoma Williams Foundation to support young women like her. He stood beside Chibuike on national TV introducing him to the world as his rightful heir. Not to erase the past. But to honor a woman whose love had never wavered, even in the face of heartbreak. And every month, without fail, Obinna still visited her grave. He would sit quietly, tracing the worn edges of her headstone with reverent fingers, whispering words he never got to say in life. I miss you, Ifeoma. I see you every day, in him. And sometimes, when the wind blew just right, he could almost hear her laughter, soft, forgiving, in the rustle of the trees above.
Please press subscribe button. It help us bring you more interesting stories. Your support keep us going. Please subscribe.